For the fourth time in the last 8 years, the Dodgers are going to the World Series. For the first time in 43 years, it will be to face the Yankees. And for the first time in, 5 days, I'm here to talk to you on Locked On Dodgers. Let's get live.
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Dodger fans, this is Locked On Dodgers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks to our everydayers for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen every weekday morning. And thanks to those of you who are joining us live here on Sunday evening to celebrate the Dodgers winning the National League pennant to head to the World Series. Remember, this show is free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube simply by searching for Locked On Dodgers. So please subscribe wherever you're watching or listening right now. If this is your first time with us, my name is Jeff Snyder. My normal co-host is Vince Samperio, but I just saw him on TV in the Dodgers locker room getting champagne poured on him. Vince and I are both lifelong Dodger fans, just like a lot of you. We've also both spent time covering the Dodgers in the press box and the locker room, so we bring you the smart fans' perspective on our boys in blue every weekday morning. Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to win $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. And the Dodgers ran their game. They ran the series, scored 46 runs in a 6-game series. That is nearly 8 runs a game, and that is a recipe for success. They win the series 4-2. This game, they won 10-4, 10-5. I think maybe the Mets scored one in the last inning. I can't remember. Dodgers won by plenty and made it a little less stressful at the end, which was nice. All in all, just what a game, what a series, and very unique series for me. Obviously, if you're an everydayer, I haven't been around the last few days. I was on vacation with my family where there was no internet reception and no cable TV. We did have Fox, but all of these games were on FS1, so we didn't get to watch the games. So I sat in my car and listened to them on Sirius XM, and which was fun. Stephen Nelson and Rick Monday did a great job, and I love listening to games on radio. I was glad that I was back. I'm not glad the Dodgers lost on Friday. I would have rather had them just win the series while I couldn't watch, but it was nice to be home to watch this one because I love watching TV. I love watching baseball on TV. I love watching TV too. You can probably tell by looking at me. But I love sitting with my family. I sat on my couch in my living room with my 2 sons and my wife, and we watched the Dodgers win the National League for the 4th time in the last 8 years. What a game. What a series. There's so much to talk about here. First thing we got to talk about, I think mandated by law, is the NLCS MVP. That's Tommy Edman. And it's the crazy thing, I guess, is that you have 2 guys, both Shohei Ohtani and Max Muncy, met or passed the previous Dodgers record for most times reaching base in a playoff series. And yet Tommy Edman was still the obvious choice for series MVP. That's how good the Dodgers offense was in this series. You don't score 46 runs in 6 games without having a good series. And Max Muncy, he set a record. He didn't get out in 13 straight plate appearances earlier in the series. Mookie Betts had a great series. Ohtani had a good series. Basically, you could go down the list. Teoscar Hernandez finally broke through tonight, had a good game. Will Smith finally broke through tonight, had a good game, or at least a big homer. But Tommy Edman, consistently throughout the series, doing everything the Dodgers needed him to do. He batted cleanup here. When you get traded at midseason to a team that has Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani, Teoscar Hernandez, Will Smith, Max Muncy, you don't expect to be batting cleanup in the series clinching NLCS game, especially when you're Tommy Edman, who is not a power hitter. He did everything the Dodgers needed him to do. He batted cleanup because it made sense for lineup construction, honestly. The Dodgers needed to get to Sean Manaea. Sean Manaea stymied them last time, and there was definitely reasons for hope. There was reasons for optimism because Manaea did run out of gas last time, and the Dodgers have had success against Manaea in the past. You could make a lot of different arguments for why you could be optimistic coming into this game, but then there was still that undeniable fact that Sean Manaea against the bullpen game didn't go well the last time. And so for the Dodgers offense to come out and just put the screws to Sean Manaea and knock him out of the game early, get to the overworked Mets bullpen, which isn't as good as the Dodgers bullpen. Once they got Manaea out of the game, I was like, I'm not going to say I was confident. I was nervous the whole time. I'm not going to say what I was just about to say. I got to keep this PG. Let's just say baseball postseason nerves do a number on my body. And I was feeling it the whole game. But once they got Manaea out of the game, I felt as good as I could because the Dodgers have a better bullpen than the Mets. And I'm going to talk about Dave Robertson in the next segment. I'm not going to talk about him here. If you're an everydayer, I believe managers get too much credit for success and too much blame for failure. But there is absolutely some credit that Dave Robertson needs to get. So I'm going to talk about that in the next segment. But right now, Tommy Edman, a 2-run double in the first inning, 2-run homer later in the game, and then Will Smith, a 2-run homer. That ended up being all the runs the Dodgers needed. They tacked on some more runs later. Shohei Ohtani had a couple hits, an RBI. Mookie Betts had a big double that was almost a 3-run home run. Just great offensive game, great offensive series, and what we hope for. When the Dodgers put this team together, this is what you're hoping for. The reason you build a team with Mookie and Freddie and Shohei and Muncy and Teoscar and Smith and down the line is so that they can do this in the postseason. And, my co-host Vince is, famously pessimistic about the Dodgers offense in the postseason. And this is, unfortunately, they prove him right sometimes. But this is what we expected, or at least hoped for. And this is why I said during that Padres series, when the Dodgers were down, stay optimistic. There's no reason to be anything other than optimistic because do you remember how down we were during that Padres series when the Dodgers went down 2-1? Even after the Dodgers lost game 2 of the NLDS, people were down. And after they lost game 3, so they're down 2-1, it's like, again. But there was always hope. And we stuck with it. And now the Dodgers are going to the World Series. Job's not done, as Kobe Bryant famously said, probably quoted by Michael Scott at some point. The Dodgers still have work to do, but this is big. Going to the World Series. Tommy Lasorda famously said, the best thing you can do in baseball is win the World Series. And the second best thing you can do in baseball is lose the World Series. The Dodgers have locked down that worst case scenario. They will be the second best team in baseball this year. They will either win the World Series or lose the World Series. I like their chances. We're going to have all week. Unfortunately, the World Series doesn't start till Friday. Vince and I are going to have 4 episodes to talk about the World Series. So I'm not going to think too much about the Yankees yet because I'm still thinking about the win. But I like the Dodgers' chances. The Dodgers were the better team in the regular season. I think they are, who knows, but I like their chances, especially if they score almost 8 runs a game. I really like their chances. I've said previously, if the Dodgers score 9 runs a game, they will win the World Series. They tried to put that to the test in this series, and they came close. And in their wins, I think they definitely averaged over 9 runs, right? They 9 and 10. What was the other one? I think they had 8 in the other. I can't remember. All the scores run together. But I think they averaged about 9 runs a game. So we'll take it. I'm going to come back in a minute. Like I said, I got stuff to talk about with Dave Roberts. Obviously, the bullpen, which go hand in hand. That is one conversation, the bullpen and Dave Roberts managing of it. And it was a big part of the Dodgers winning this series. So I will be back in a second. Thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen. And please keep it Locked On Dodgers. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Like I said, you can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in over 30 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and Texas. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks is the best way to win real money this football season. Which players are going to go off? Which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. I am back. Thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen every weekday morning. Thanks to our everydayers. If you're not an everydayer, it's easy to become one. Just watch or listen every weekday morning. We are every day, all season long, all postseason long, and all off season long. Hopefully the off season won't start for, well, now we can just hope. We know it won't start. It'll start for the Dodgers as late as it starts for anybody. Hopefully it will end with a win and then a parade. So yeah, it will start later because we'll count the parade as part of the season. Only one team gets that. That's what we're shooting for. But yeah, we are here with you all the time. So be sure to check it out wherever you get podcasts. You can go beyond the podcast and become a Locked On Dodgers insider by going to joinsubtext.com/LockedOnDodgers. I was texting with our insider group during the game, asked how they felt, got a barrage of replies, and all of them were exactly how I felt. The somewhat confident, stressful, can we please get a clean inning here? I think they only had the 8th inning was the only clean inning the Dodgers had, but we got it done. They got it done. We got it done. We fans, we played our part. Also, for your second listen, check out Locked On MLB. I suspect Sully will be talking about the Dodgers over there at least a little bit. And remember, you can catch every pitch of every Dodger game on SiriusXM or the SXM app by searching for Dodgers, just like I did at Fish Lake, Utah, where there is no reception. But there is satellite radio reception in my car. And what other? Check out Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Sports Los Angeles on YouTube. Locked On Sports LA is where you can find the Locked On Dodgers postcast after most Dodger games. I am just going to roll through these the chat a little bit. Frank Pizzichetti says, I need a better vacation planner. I planned this vacation myself. Unfortunately, our kids' school fall break always falls during the NLCS, and it's become kind of a fun little tradition. Back in 2017, we went down to Arches National Park in Moab, Utah, with the kids, and it was the same thing. We listened to Game 3 of the NLCS in the car while we drove down, just like we did this time. And then I watched in the hotel room. I watched Games 4 and 5 that year. I watched the Dodgers go to the World Series from a hotel room in Moab, and that was a lot of fun. The family always comes first for me. And the fall break falls when it falls. And I will, we found a way to work some baseball into our vacation, and it was awesome. Jose says he was at the game. It was electric. I was texting with my cousin. You may know Jake from the What's Brewing podcast, UCLA sports podcast. That's my cousin Jake. He was at the game with his daughter. We were texting during the game. He said the stadium was awesome. Trevor says 26 players got it done. A complete team of scrappy players who work together. I love this team. I agree, Trevor. Trevor's awesome. Cindy says that Joe Davis seemed like a homer for the Mets. I've said many times, I believe that after a full season of watching our own broadcasters who are, to some extent or another, homers for our team in a good way. Some are overly homery, but all local broadcasts are homers for the home team. Then when we get a neutral broadcast, it feels like it's slanted towards the other team. I think Joe Davis is great at what he does. He's very good at being a neutral national broadcaster. Not everybody can do that. Joe Davis is very, very good at that. What else do we got? Ben Kasparius has a 0 ERA. Kasparius did a good job. Came in a spot when maybe we wouldn't have expected it, but he did a really good job. Mr. Classic says, congrats, Jeff. I did a lot. He says, I know you waited so much for this. Yeah, it's fun. We all know as Dodger fans, this is a great feeling. This is why not why we watch sports. I've said before, I don't love the Dodgers because they win. I want them to win because I love them. And so this is a happy time. I'm happy for them. I'm happy for me. It's fun to see the players with their families and just all the hard work they put in. My buddy Petey, who's been on this podcast, he's one of the Dodgers behind the scenes coaches. Watching him throwing champagne on Shohei Ohtani in the locker room tonight was a lot of fun for me because I know Petey. He's a good dude. And so it's exciting for him. Let's see, just scrolling through these chats, see if there's anything else. Goat Yachty's asked me how I'm feeling. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm happy. It's a great feeling. As far as I've said many times, baseball is the most unimportant thing in life. As I proved last week, going on vacation with my family, I will take family over baseball anytime. But when we get down to the unimportant things, baseball is the best. It's my favorite thing. I love it. And this is a lot of fun. winning episodes of the podcast are a lot more fun than losing episodes. I hope to not do another losing episode until mid-April. The Dodgers win like the first 12 games of the season next year, and then they can lose a game, and then we'll be bummed about a loss. But I hope we don't get another loss. I hope Dodgers sweep the Yankees. I don't want good games. I don't want a good series. I want blowouts. I want the Dodgers to destroy them. I want as little stress as possible, and then I want a parade. It's what I want, and I'm down for it. So it is awesome. Last one before we start talking about Dave Roberts and stuff. Argina says hopefully Freddy's ankle will get the best from this 4-day rest. We'll see what happens with Freddie. The Dodgers, they stepped up. When Freddie wasn't available, the Dodgers offense stepped up this series. And, I wouldn't go so far as to say the Dodgers are better without Freddie Freeman in the lineup. Freddie hit pretty well for an injured guy. And there were at least 2 plays that you could make a case that things would have gone better for the Dodgers if Freddie had been at first base. There was the play when Brandon Nimmo beat out the double play when Muncy didn't stretch as far as he probably should have. And then there was a play tonight when that led to the first run. Pete Alonso's little infield single in the first inning. Freddie being 6 inches taller than Max Muncy, Freddie probably catches that throw from Chris Taylor, whereas Muncy, it went off his glove. But overall, having Kike at third is nice. We saw some nice defense from him. And obviously the offense stepped up. And that's what they need to do. Whether it's that's been the story of this Dodgers season is guys stepping up when they needed to. And maybe the best example is this bullpen. The fact that the Dodgers twice in this postseason have won they staved off elimination in the Padres series with the bullpen game, a gem, a shutout, a combined shutout. And then this one, they won a postseason series with a bullpen game. And this is where I said, I'm going to compliment Dave Roberts. And I will reiterate, I believe managers get too much blame when things go poorly and too much credit when they go well. But right here, this game, I saw people complaining. I would, a couple times a day when we were down at Fish Lake, there was a spot about 5 miles south of where we were staying where we could get cell reception. And so we named it Twitterland. And every once in a while we go on a family field trip. Who wants to come to Twitterland? And we drive down and park on the side of the road and check Twitter and send a couple text messages, make sure, the cats are getting fed, all that stuff. And when I would do that, I saw people complaining about Dave Roberts punting games. Like, why are you punting? Why did they leave Jack Flaherty in so long? Why didn't they pull Knack when he loaded the bases in game 2? And I think the thing that when we get in our emotional states as fans, we don't remember is you don't have to win every game in the postseason. You just have to get the 4 wins before the other team. And not that you don't want to win every game. And it's not even that it's punting. I don't believe the Dodgers punted any game, but the reason the Dodgers had the arms to get through this game, game 6 on Sunday, October 20th, 2024, is because they didn't panic in game 5 on Friday. They let Jack Flaherty wear it a little bit. And then they let Brent Honeywell wear it a little bit. And maybe if they pull Flaherty earlier, and they go to their high leverage relievers and they don't go to Honeywell, maybe the Dodgers win that game. Probably they still lose that game and they use their high leverage guys and have fewer guys available. Imagine if Honeywell had to pitch tonight. Honeywell's not good. Honeywell serves a purpose on this team. He served his purpose on Friday, pitching a bunch of innings, giving up a bunch of runs, but being the warm body on the mound to get through the game, to save the guys for this game. Dave Roberts managed this team perfectly in this series, this pitching staff, to get them to this point in this game. And then he stepped on the gas when he needed to. Starting Michael Kopech, it didn't go great. He gave up a run, but it was the right move going with your best reliever. You could flip a coin between Kopech and Trinan. But the mindset was, we're not going to give them Ryan Brazier in the first inning. We're going to try to jump out ahead. And it worked. Kopech did give up a run on an infield single with Pete Alonso, like very close to not giving up a run. And then in the bottom of the first inning, the Dodgers, because with only 1 run, Dodgers scored 2, never gave up the lead after that point. And then from there on, like going to Ben Kasparius, it was a surprise move, but where they were in the lineup, knowing Kasparius' stuff, and Kasparius probably did Other than Blake Treinen, I'd say Kasperius had the best night of anybody. I'm just looking. I assume, did they give Kasperius the win? Yeah, Kasperius got the win. He's the winning pitcher in a NLCS clinching game, and Dave Roberts put his trust in him. And basically, he looked at the numbers and said, "We don't have 9 good pitchers available today. We have 6, and so we need to get multiple outs from all of these guys." How many pitchers did they end up using? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's the 7 guys. Like, you think the other ones available were Enriquez and Honeywell. And that's like, okay, we're not going to those guys. Honeywell probably wasn't available. Enriquez, maybe if they had scored a couple more runs in the 9th inning, maybe they let Treinen sit down. But Dave Roberts looked at what he had available and said, okay, nobody is only going an inning. Even Evan Phillips and Daniel Hudson only pitched 1 inning each. But Phillips was over multiple. I think he was. Oh no, yeah. So, and then Treinen went to 2 innings. It was perfectly played out. And obviously, like I've said many times, the reason managers look good is when the players perform. If all these guys the Dodgers used tonight had gone out and been terrible, people would have said that it was Dave Roberts' fault for bad planning. Instead, they pitched well enough, and the Dodgers won. And that's why I say managers get too much credit and too much blame. But I think Dave Roberts in this series and throughout this postseason so far has done a really, really good job of putting players in the best position to succeed. And that's all a manager can do. And I've actually had an epiphany recently. I've talked about the 60-40 decisions, how managers, there's some obviously right and wrong decisions. Any manager can make those. The ones that we argue about, though, there's not clearly right and wrong. It's like 60-40, a 60% chance versus a 40% chance, or even 52-48. And what I realized recently is actually they're more like 35-31, because even the right decision, if you've got runners on second and third and nobody out, and you're deciding, do you leave the pitcher in or do you bring in a different pitcher? You don't have a very high chance of success either way. And so you're trying to do the one with the better chance of success, but it's like, okay, well, this one gives us a 35% chance of success. That means 65% of the time it's going to look like the wrong decision because it's not going to work. And yet it's still the better decision than the alternative. That's what managers are up against. And that's why it's so easy to second guess managers, because we can't know the alternative. Just like we can't know what would have happened tonight if the Dodgers relievers had been terrible. We don't know what would have happened in Game 7. We don't know if Dave Roberts would have had to punt this game to save Blake Treinen for tomorrow. Luckily there's no game tomorrow because the players came through and played. The bullpen pitched their butts off like they needed to, and that was what we're happy about. I am going to come back in a minute. I'm going to do one more ad break, then I'm going to come back. We're going to talk about more of this win. I'll read through some more comments, all that stuff. So thanks again for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen, and please keep it Locked On Dodgers. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. And I'm not going to look at baseball lines because there's no baseball for like 5 days. But if you want to look at the NFL lines on FanDuel, let's see, Monday Night Football. What do we got? We've got Ravens against Buccaneers. Ravens are -188 favorites. Tampa Bay +158. You got a hunch on that? I always play the underdog, especially because when it comes to FanDuel, all you need to do is you get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's right. You don't have to win the bet. So put your $5 on Tampa Bay. If they win, you win the bet. Even if they lose, you still get your $200 in bonus bets that you can then use on the things that you're more confident about. Either way, it's a great way to get your sports action on with your $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet over at FanDuel.com. Hey, I am back. Thank you again for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen. Again, become a Locked On Dodgers insider by going to joinsubtext.com/LockedOnDodgers. Check out Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Sports Los Angeles on YouTube, and catch every pitch of every Dodger game on SiriusXM or the SXM app by searching for Dodgers. I have to sneeze, and because I'm doing it solo, you just got to wait. What I meant was I have to mention a sneeze, and then the sneeze will go away. Either way, it works. Just going through the chat a little bit more. Jose says the Fire Dave Roberts crowd is real quiet right now. Don't worry, they'll be back. But yeah, it was always, yeah. Dave Roberts is a very good manager, and especially off the field and on the field, he does a pretty darn good job too. Nando asks who starts game one. I'm guessing it'll be Jack Flaherty. We'll talk more about that. Dave Roberts did say Jack Flaherty was under the weather for his start the other night. Maybe that was part of it. He was uncharacteristically bad. So, but yeah, we'll talk more in the coming week as we dig into that a little bit. Let's see. Mets didn't capitalize on their bases loaded moment. It was over them. Yeah, the Mets left a lot of guys on base. The Dodgers pitchers did a good job of not letting innings get too big. But yeah, I mean, though, this game could have gone the other way pretty quickly. Let's see. Just sliding through this chat. Joe Holt says hopefully Alex Vesia can go in the World Series. Joe is following the Jeff Snyder route. He's going on vacation. He's not going to be able to be on his couch watching the game, but I think he's going to have better access than I did. But being on vacation during the World Series, yeah, I hope Alex Vesia can play too. Tommy Edman deserves the MVP, but Dave Roberts is my series MVP. That's what Steve Baldwin says. I get it. Yeah, give it to Tommy Edman. The players always deserve it, but to the extent that a manager can do his job, Dave Roberts did his job really, really well. Let's see. Big Daddy Sexy. I thought that was me. Hashtag everyday, but only listening since 2023. Love you guys. Congratulations. Yeah, hey. We like bandwagon podcast listeners too. Every fandom starts somewhere. So happy for all of these everydayers. Love having you guys here. Yeah, like this is just a great feeling for us as Dodger fans. And I'm not going to get too philosophical. I usually say that for when the Dodgers lose, and I talk about the meaning of life. If you ever want a sad episode, go listen to when the Dodgers lost the NLDS in 2019. That was before we were on YouTube, but go find that episode I did. I did that episode solo, and I was near tears and talking about perspective and stuff. And I told the story about my cat running away on Halloween in 2017. And my Halloween night was game 6, and my cat got scared and ran out the door with the trick-or-treaters and ran away and was missing for a day and a half. And so the next day when the Dodgers lost game 7 of the World Series, my cat was still missing. I was in California at the game. My wife is here at home in Utah trying to find our cat, and heartbroken. She loves this cat. And then, the Dodgers lose, and I cried in front of strangers and went back to my parents' house. And the next morning I got up and I drove home. But when I woke up the next morning, I had a text from my wife telling me that the cat had come home. And it just, by the time I got home, between the cat coming home and a 9-hour drive home, I was fine. Yeah, it sucked losing, but I was fine. I'm not going to dig in that philosophy because the Dodgers won this game. The Dodgers won this series. And so for right now, we can keep pretending that baseball is all that matters, and that, you know what, we can live and die with this team, because right now we are living because the Dodgers are living. The Dodgers are still playing. 28 teams have gone home. The Guardians and the Mets became the 27th and 28th teams to go home and end their seasons. The Dodgers and the Yankees are still playing. That means Christmas season has not started yet. You'll recall, if you're an everydayer, the 4 seasons are spring training, baseball season, Christmas season, and January. We are still in baseball season because the Dodgers are still playing. And that means that I won't have to start Christmas season early this year because the Dodgers will be playing as late as anybody else in baseball this year. It is Christmas season. Once that's done, I will listen to Christmas music in my car, driving down to LA to go to the World Series Championship Parade in Los Angeles. I will be listening to Christmas music on the way there, on the way back. But right now, it ain't Christmas season. It's Dodger season because the Dodgers are still playing. I don't know what else to say, guys. Like, everything about this was awesome. The series, it's memories for me and my family, sitting in the car with my kids, like just sitting in snow. It's snowing at Fish Lake, Utah, on the car while I'm sitting in there listening to the Dodgers on the radio, listening to Steven Nelson, exchanging DMs with Steven Nelson. He and I become really, really good buddies lately, exchanging DMs with him between games from Twitterland 5 miles down the road. Just and this moments with my family, sitting on the couch tonight, that it's become a tradition. I have a pillow. It's a Halloween pillow, which means it's always out when my wife is decorated for Halloween, which means during the postseason. And it is what I clutch tensely while the Dodgers are getting close to winning. They have pictures of me when the Dodgers won the World Series in 2020, clutching this pillow. And so tonight, my 13-year-old son said, "Dad, you need the pillow." And he handed me the pillow, and I clutched it. And then I clutched it with one arm, and I held his hand, and he held his brother's hand, and his brother held my wife's hand. And we watched the game. And I love baseball because of the family moments. It's cheesy. I get it. People like cheese. And Snyder's like baseball. Snyder's are a Dodger family. We're a baseball family. And nights like this are fun. So, mostly I'm glad that the Dodgers won because I was invited to go to Game 7 if there was one. And I did not want to drive to LA tomorrow. I'm hoping to drive to LA next weekend. Not sure if I will be able to get tickets, but I'm hoping to be at a game or two next weekend. But for now, I am happy the Dodgers are still playing. I hope you guys are all happy there too. CD Mix says he goes to Fish Lake all the time, lives in Lehigh, Utah. We're neighbors. Awesome. Yeah, Lehigh's just right down the road from me. In fact, my neighbor plays football at Lehigh High School. So that's fun. Fish Lake's great. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. I should have posted some pictures. I'm going to end this. Speaking of posting things, here is a video of the final out, and then I will play. I'll talk after it. Here's the video that Vince took from the stadium tonight. And that'll do it for me. Thank you all for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen every weekday morning. Thanks for being an everydayer. If you're not one, please become one. Remember to check out Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Sports Los Angeles, the two 24/7 streaming channels on YouTube from the Locked On Podcast Network. Remember to go beyond the podcast and become a Locked On Dodgers insider by going to joinsubtext.com/LockedOnDodgers. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Locked On Dodgers. Vince is on Twitter at VinceSense91. I'm on Twitter at Snydog. Both of our DMs are open there. You can also email us, lockedondodgers@gmail.com, or send us a voicemail or a text message at 323-863-LOCK, 5625. We are here every weekday morning, and we hope you'll be here with us. When you get in your car or sit on your couch, tell your smart device to play podcast Locked On Dodgers. And remember, you don't have to agree. You just have to listen. We will talk to you tomorrow.